The Christian life, as you know, so many paradoxes. One is you cannot change yourself, and yet we have to change. And so, how do we do it? And like, if we use our willpower, it doesn't work. They say 80% of New Year's resolutions by the end of January, they're gone, finished. The gym is over, and all the other things, the things we promised we were going to do. But like, will is useful to a degree. Of course it is. It's part of who we are. But Paul says that will worship, he calls it. He says, by touch not, taste not, handle not. These things seem very wise, have a show of humility, but they have no benefit in controlling the flesh and controlling the carnal nature. He calls it will worship. And so, like, if we cannot change ourselves, and yet we have to change, we are to be transformed, and not conformed to this world, but transformed by the renewing of our minds. How do we do it? Well, the answer is God does it. But then, do we sit passively by and wait for God to change us? And the answer to that is no. If we sit passively by, we go backwards. We degenerate even further. If we don't fight against the forces that fight against us harder, we are going to be overcome by them. They're the internal forces of our own nature that works against us, and the external forces of the world that Paul says, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds. So how do we do it? How do we change? And the answer is we put ourselves in a position that God can change us. Like a farmer. A farmer cannot cause a little seed to turn into a tree or to turn into a sheaf of wheat. But what he can do is he can dig the ground. He can remove the stones. He can remove the weeds. He can plant the seed in the soil. He can water it. He can fence it off to stop animals coming in at it. Then that's it. He has to leave the earth do its work, and the nurture of the soil and the work of the sun to do its work. And the earth produces by itself. So he can't do it, but what he can do is create the conditions for the growth to take place. Same with a patient. In many cases, there are things where the body has to heal itself. And what you do is you create the conditions for health, such as rest, good food, remove a stressful environment as much as you can, drink plenty of water, and the body kind of heals itself of a lot of ailments, and so again, you are creating the conditions for it to take place. So, like, there is this dilemma. Righteousness is a gift from God. I cannot earn righteousness. All I can do is receive it. And this is the wonder of the gospel and the gift of God, which is righteousness. So then, if righteousness is a gift, if I cannot earn it, then I should do nothing. But here the logic is faulty. As we said, we have to put ourselves in a place where God can do the work in us. And that's what the things of, the Christian being in the way, the way of Christ. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So there's the truth, which we love, doctrine and knowledge and teaching. But he's not just the truth, he's also the way. And there's a way that we have to follow. And of course, it's guided by the truth, and it ends up giving us the life. But as Eugene Peterson said, as 50 years pastoring and working with pastors in North America, Jesus as the truth is so overemphasized, and Jesus as the way is almost totally neglected. Abraham's servant said, being in the way, the Lord led me. And we can say the same, being in the way, the Lord changed me. When Jesus speaks about prayer, the first thing he says to the disciples is not how to pray, not even what to pray, but where to pray. Because the idea of having a certain fixed place of prayer helps us put ourselves regularly in a place where God changes. Does prayer change us? No, it doesn't, and it can become a kind of a ritual, and it just a kind of a going through lists, or just but it is a place that puts ourselves in the presence of God, and in His presence we are changed. So prayer is that. So he starts off by saying, where, teaching us where you pray. And he says, go to the closet, shut the door, and pray to secret. Have a place, a regular place. It's not always possible. And we know in John chapter 4 is that we can pray anywhere. You say pray on that mountain, the Jews say pray in the temple, but I say the Father, a time will come when Father looks for those who pray in spirit and truth in any place, at any time. But having a regular place of prayer puts us, ourselves regularly in a place. Why a regular place? It's just useful because you don't have to be kind of scrummaging where, and and also kind of gets you into the mode. There's certain places you go, you just get into a mode. And some people who read, if they sit in a certain chair, they get in a reading mode. Some people who, well, there you go, get into the kitchen, you're going to get in a cooking mode. And so you get in a mode. And go to the gym, you just get into the workout mode, and you just kind of get into it and you get going. It's hard to go to the gym and sit drinking coffee for an hour. You're more likely to just say, I'm here, I may as well do this. Same as if you have a place of prayer. So can we change ourselves? No. Do we have to change? Yes. What do we do about it? We go and to a place where God can change us, and one of them is prayer. And another one is we sit with our Bible, we open it up. Does Bible reading change us? We all know people, we have read the Bible and read the Bible, and it hasn't had that good an effect. Even our own lives, we've seen it. But God uses the Bible to change us and to conform us. And there are many other areas that through the centuries have been the means that God used to change people. The farmer digs the field, he puts the seed in the ground, he takes out the stones, he removes the weeds, he waters it, he fences it off from animals who are going to attack it, and then God gives the increase, the earth yields the fruit by itself. We have to take the things up that God gives us to change us, and don't sit passively by, and God will shape us when we continually put ourselves in the way of Christ. Okay? God bless. Have a good day.